I move that we consider the 2012 proposed budget for the Commission on Elections and recognize the Honorable Andaya Jr. to sponsor the bill and the Honorable Marc Cagas to interpellate.
Any objection? There being none, the motion is carried.
Few minutes suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the distinguished sponsor, the Honorable Gentleman from Albay, the Honorable Rolanda Daya.
Yes,
Will
Mr. Speaker.
interpellate, Mr.
I would
Speaker.
wish to interpellate our colleague, our sponsor.
Yes, the chair has already recognized the gentleman from Davao del Sur.
Yes, but
He may
I'm waiting
proceed.
for... All right.
Yes, the gentleman from Davao del Sur would like to interpolate the distinguished
Yes, please.
sponsor.
We're ready,
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon again, distinguished sponsor. If you kindly so, may I ask few questions for,
Yes, please.
for the COMELEC?
Gladly, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, distinguished sponsor. Distinguished sponsor, upon review of the proposed budget for the Commission on Elections, I readily noticed, or anybody for that matter, distinguished sponsor, if you read the opening lines of the GAB under the COMELEC, under the heading of operations, it lists the amount of 1.194 billion pesos to be allocated for the operations concerning the conduct and supervision of elections and other political exercises. Is my figure correct, distinguished sponsor?
Yes,
For the conduct and supervision of elections and other political exercises, a total of 1.194 billion pesos.
yes, Mr. Speaker.
94 billion pesos.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, can you
All right.
repeat the question, please?
If we go over the GAB, distinguished sponsor, sa COMELEC ho na area, we can readily see or notice sa opening pa lang na under conduct and supervision of elections and other political exercises, makikita ho natin that the budget being proposed for said item amounts to 1.194 billion pesos. Is my figure correct, distinguished sponsor?
And the operations, correct. Thank you. Yes, yes.
To be precise, the said figure is found on page 1262 of the GAB 1, that is, line 38 thereof. Is this amount, 1.194 billion, is this further subdivided or is this reallocated to the different regions under COMELEC, different regional COMELEC offices, distinguished sponsor?
Yes, it is subdivided, Mr. Speaker.
And for purposes of information, for all of us and for our guests here in Congress, may you enlighten this representation. What are at least the general activities, distinguished sponsor, or operations that are undertaken and funded under the said heading, conduct and supervision of elections and other political exercises, amounting to 1.194 billion pesos?
Can you request a minute suspension, Mr. Speaker, so we can give a complete answer?
sa 5:30. Kung simple media, take over the mandate. O, 5:30 na lang. Gayunin ko na lang po itong 5:30. Gayunin ko na lang po itong 5:30. O, 5:30. Bigay na lang po ito. Kining na po na, yung support, pero katong hindi na po. Siya pa, take over ko na lang. Padulan na lang po sa...
For that same activity, you have 45 million. And on line 38, for the same conduct and supervision of elections and other political exercises, the 1.194 billion, which the Honorable Cagas was referring to. To differentiate the two, item A under operations would involve the maintenance and updating of registration records of voters and development of measures to improve the registration and election systems, including its dissemination of election results of previous elections, and the preparation of maps of territorial units of voter centers, the establishment of new voting centers, and the transfer, merger, and abolition of existing ones. Also included under this operation would be the continuing voters registration, the cleaning of the voters list, as well as the printing of the voters ID. This is for item A, and this is utilized by the central office, Mr. Speaker, as compared to item C, which is the budget for the different regional offices, Mr. Chairman, which would now conduct the continuing voters registration, the cleansing of the list, and the distribution of the printed voters ID, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished sponsor. Those are really the what I was asking for. Just the general operations or conduct of the COMELEC. It's interesting to note that you mentioned regional allocations. The chairman is here. I'm looking at him right now. I'm just puzzled, Mr. Distinguished Sponsor. How come amongst all of the regions, from 1 down to Caraga, Arm, and Car, it is Region 11 which receives the second lowest allocation, amounting to only 44,681,000 pesos. So, again, Mr. Speaker, Davao region with Davao City in our midst is a pretty highly urbanized area, and therefore it is to my interest as a legislator, and now we're fixing the budget. How come Davao region, including Davao City, is getting only 44 million, second lowest, if we compare it with the budgetary allocations of all the regions in the entire country? RG, nag-interpolate pa ko. RG, nag-interpolate ko. Anawag lang usap. Nag-interpolate sa floor. Oh, tawag lang ko. Oh, okay.
Mr. Speaker, we noted that the allocation for Region 11 last year was 43 million, and there's a slight increase for this year of 44.6 million. Admittedly, that is correct. It is one of the smallest budgetary items, but again, budgetary allocation should be given on the basis of actual need. Since it is 43 last year, it is quite logical that for the following year, it would receive a slightly higher budget allocation and the same in proportion to the other regions, Mr. Speaker. We cannot just expect this to jump when there's no actual need for the increase, Mr. Speaker.
am I correct in my understanding that there is a sort of a criteria or a basis on which COMELEC decides how much they allocate per region? Is that what the distinguished sponsor is saying? Like, is Davao region almost or practically developed compared to other regions, and that's why Davao region or Region 11 is getting only 44 million, distinguished sponsor?
Yes, the basis would be the actual need. And in this case, as presented in the budget, these are just mainly personal services. So these are salaries of actual persons working in your region and the maintenance and operating expenses for these particular employees, Mr. Speaker. So it's based on actual need for that particular regional office.
And this 44 million is further subdivided to the operations and payment of personal services down to the provincial as well as the municipal level. Tama po ba? Am I correct to assume that, distinguished sponsor?
Opo, tama po yan.
Maraming salamat. Babalikan ko po yun kasi may point po ako bakit po natanong ko yun eh. Mr. Distinguished Sponsor, sir, an amount of 7.962 billion has been allocated for the project listed as quote capital B dot I, capital I dot small letter A, preparatory automated national and local elections. Tama ho ba ito na 7.962 billion apart from what I mentioned earlier na 1.194 billion pesos?
Yes, there's a budgetary item, preparatory automated national and local elections under locally funded projects amounting to 7.962 billion, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, distinguished sponsor. And we are talking about the 2013 elections.
Yes, yes.
Interestingly, Mr. Distinguished Sponsor, 3 pages further, or on page 1265 of GAB, line 54 to be specific, COMELEC again listed another figure which also amounts into billions. It listed a staggering 7.030 billion pesos as expenditure for rental of equipments. Tama po ba ito?
Yes, yes, Mr. Speaker.
So in other words, nakakatatlong tig-billion na tayo. Dalawang tig-7 billion at saka isang 1 billion. Would it be proper to say then that etong 7.030 billion pesos, similar ho ba ito nung ginamit nung 2010 elections?
First of all, let me say that the amounts being stated by the Honorable Cagas, Mr. Speaker, for clarification, are one and the same. It is not a case of double funding or excessive funding. It is one and the same. It is
Hindi ko po sinasabi
yes,
double
just
funding.
to explain, just to explain that it's just a matter of presentation. The first 7.9 billion is presented in a programs and projects presentation, and the second 7 billion is presented on a locally funded project or an object expenditure presentation. So it's just a different way of presenting it, but it's one referring to one and the same project, Mr. Speaker.
Sa madaling sabi ho, yung 7.030 huge chunk or majority or 99% of the same will be used for the rental payment of automated counting machines for 2013. Tama ho ba?
Yes,
Is it-
not necessarily rental.
Not necessarily rental. Paano po yun?
Rental, I stand corrected. It's rental. It's the cost of the lease of the PCOS machines. And that amounts to 7 billion. You're correct. It's rental.
Let me be clear, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, that I'm not accusing the COMELEC of double, what did you call it? Double funding or double... Nililinaw ko lang po yung nabasa ko po sa libro. No?
Opo.
Nandiyan naman si Chairman Brillantes, maayos naman siya. Wala po akong akusasyon na ganon. Gusto ko lang malaman natin kung ano ba yung budget natin line by line.
Yes. Yes, it was not it was not the intention of the sponsored speaker to make any insinuations that there were allegations of double funding. We were just saying that in the budget you see the same budgetary item presented in two different ways. One is by program activity and project, and the other one is by object of expenditure. Yun lang ho yun. You see the
Yes.
same expenditure but on different manner of presenting it.
May I move on now, distinguished sponsor?
Yes, please.
So, is any of the allocated amount for rentals in 2012 part of the overall rental of the equipment for the 2013 election? Just to recap, so that, para malinaw lang po, so that transcript will say na is part ba nung inallocate, no, for rentals for 2012, gagamitin ba natin sa overall rental for 2013 elections?
Yes, this is all part for the 2013
But
elections.
ito theoretically lang, is it possible to know how much really would it cost the COMELEC to rent PCOS machines or counting machines for the conduct of 2013 elections, distinguished sponsor?
Magkano?
Kung may rough estimate po sila, okay lang po sa akin.
Would you like it on a per machine basis, Mr. Speaker?
Pardon me, sir?
The per machine cost for renting?
No, just a rough estimate, like in billions, of course.
The proposal of the COMELEC for rentals was 10.4 billion. What was approved by the DBM as presented in the NEP is 7 billion. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, representing the rentals for the PCOS machines.
Salamat po. Bibilisan ko po, no? As part of COMELEC's support for operations, the COMELEC wants to spend at least 8.579 million for disseminating information on election laws, rules and regulations, and continuing voters. Tama ho ba ito?
Yes.
And if the figure is correct, has this been a periodic activity on the part of the Commission on Elections as far as dissemination of information on election laws, rules, regulation, and
Yes, that's a yearly activity, Mr. Speaker.
on a similar note, distinguished sponsor, under advertising expense, there is an allocation, although small, but I need to ask this because I feel that this is similar with that allocation allotted for disseminating information. Under the advertising expense, the COMELEC allotted 1.236 million pesos. My question, distinguished sponsor, is that are these figures spent on similar things? Pareho, ano ba tong advertising? Ano ba tong information dissemination? Saan ba? Sa dyaryo? Sa TV? Sa radyo?
Mga plug yan ano sa
O nagseseminar ba sa baryo? Sa munisipyo?
The advertising expenses are used for the plugging or the commercials of the COMELEC in TV, print, and radio, Mr. Speaker.
And we can actually see these commercials presently on TV right now, distinguished sponsor. And
Yes, we currently see them. Even on TV, the chairman himself encouraging voters to register at this point in time.
sana po makausap po si chairman para malaman ko kung anong channels po pinapalabas kasi hindi ko pa ho talaga napanood honestly. Kaya ako po natanong. Maibalik ko dun sa regional allocation. The reason why I pointed this out is that one of the major sources of corruption under the COMELEC, distinguished sponsor, is that they always claim that provincial and regional and municipal offices do not possess the necessary manpower, supplies. Kaya po, this leads me to another question or to another issue, whether or not the COMELEC is really a truly independent body. Because in practice, sa mga far-flung ho ng munisipyo, ang nagsusupply ng mga empleyado sa COMELEC, yung local government. We are here after for electoral reforms. And this is what scares this representation. Baka dahil porke yung incumbent mayor ang nagbigay ng job order o casual, where is the fairness there? Bakit kiniklaim na sapat na yung pondo ng Region 11, yun pala ibang munisipyo sa Region 11, walang empleyado, walang pangsweldo, walang pambili ng papel at ballpen.
We confirm that there are certain LUs that actually help or assist the COMELEC in their work. Some to the extent of even paying rentals for their offices. But the COMELEC is cognizant of this, and they are slowly moving away from this particular problem, so to speak. But that would require a big budgetary allocation, so they would have to move slowly on this matter. But they're well aware of this, Mr. Speaker, and part of the reform agenda is to do away with this practice of actually seeking assistance of various LGUs for their operations.
Salamat po kasi in practice, kapag yung casual o job order na soldado ng munisipyo, syudad o ng probinsya ang magki-cleanse ng voters list ng COMELEC, doon pa lang baka magkayarian tayo. Kaya habang nandito pa yung budget ng COMELEC sa Kongreso, siguro during the period of amendments, we can look at it, distinguished sponsor. Yun lang pong kinatatakot ko. Kasi nangyari yon at nangyayari at sana wag na mangyari ulit. Mr. Sponsor, on another note, for example, candidate A protests sa candidate B na prinuklama na ng COMELEC. Pinakuha ngayon ng COMELEC, pina-check, pina-seal yung mga balota. Pagkatapos ng seal, pinadala sa Manila. And then it was found out that ballot boxes were damaged. Iba basa. Iba hindi na legible para mabasa o mabilang. May I ask the COMELEC family, meron bang liability o accountability dito? De, kunyari po, no? Nag-collect na ng mga balota sa iba't ibang munisipyo at iba't ibang syudad. Di ba, nakadeposit yan sa Treasurer's Office?
We're talking about the old system ng balota.
Yes.
Mano-mano,
No, we're talking about the PICOS machine because they are also stored on ballot boxes. Yung iba nababasa, yung iba tampered, yung iba walang locks. Hindi ho ba posible na right after the election, merong mga fraudulent operations na nangyayari, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor? And who should the COMELEC hold accountable for the same?
Mahuhuli po yun, Mr. Speaker, because they have a ballot, picture. Yeah, picture image of the ballot, Mr. Speaker. So, kung magbabago ho yung balota na yun, mahuhuli.
Yes, I know that, Mr. Distinguished sponsor. But my question is, isn't it possible that maybe an operation was conducted right after elections as a grand scheme to rig the winning candidate? Sirain yung mga balota. Is this a national concern, Mr. Distinguished sponsor?
Yes, that's an election offense.
Yes, and who should be held accountable? Does the COMELEC have any team which would truly safeguard the ballot boxes?
That's an election offense, probably election sabotage. Those who did it should be liable. They should be the ones liable for this, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm about to wind up. My message is clear and simple. It has been probably my experience to see elections being rigged and vote buying being conducted everywhere, and much to my dismay. And my point is, Mr. Distinguished sponsor, is that COMELEC is asking us for billions of budget. They should do a more, now under the leadership of Chairman Brillantes, they should do a more efficient task of safeguarding the sacredness of our ballots. Now, lastly, Mr. Distinguished sponsor, this is a far-fetched question. In the event, for instance, that the Supreme Court rules in favor of holding election in the ARMM, in the event, is the COMELEC prepared for such eventuality, distinguished sponsor? And meron na bang preparasyon na nangyari?
Yes, they would be in that event, unlikely event, as the Supreme Court would give that kind of a decision. All they ask is to conduct manual elections, 2 months. 2 months preparation. For automated, 6 months is what is needed by the COMELEC.
So in other words, may I be assured from COMELEC, if they give their word to you, our distinguished sponsor, that no post-election operations could happen, such as the tampering of ballots in municipal treasurers or city treasurers. Can they give me an assurance that the same did not occur during the 2010 elections, distinguished sponsor?
They would endeavor to put in more security measures, Mr. Speaker, in the upcoming elections. I understand they have new ideas and new safeguards to be put in place to prevent any wrongdoings in the conduct of our elections.
I hope that on 2013, under the presidency of Pinoy and under the watch of Chairman Brillantes, you know, cheating does not occur on national levels only. Cheating occurs down to the last precinct. And in my experience, last 2010 elections, vote buying was the worst. Because the watcher and the election officer in a particular clustered precinct would be the one to facilitate the cheating. And so I hope I'm very clear to the chairman as well as the members of the COMELEC that no pre- and post-election operations to rig the elections should happen again, and that in any protest, for instance, that is now lodged in any division of the COMELEC, be sure that revisors are credible and honest. With that, Mr. Distinguished Sponsor, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Majority Leader, I thank the distinguished sponsor as well as the COMELEC family for taking questions from these representations.
Thank you.
The Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend consideration of House Bill number 5023.
Any objection? There being none, motion is carried.